So this is from Justin. Hi Lisa, I like the feeling of your talks. I'm just watching the last one you did and eating ice cream. I've been practicing Buddhism for a while now and lots of other stuff over the years. I'm really here, really now, really wow. Well, I am not here, but a lot of that is tricky language stuff, I think. My question is twofold. Question. Seeing as there is no one experience, no thing, as an awakened lens, how do you interact with the world of form when it's uncomfortable? Also, once you came to the realization that your experience of reality is just a homage, just hang on, let me let Siri read that word for me. Homogeneous. Realize that your experience of reality is just a homogeneous happening, or non-duality, non-locality is just a homogeneous happening, or a non-dual non-locality. What became your non-dual vision of success, we'll call it? Ambition classically implies that. We are lacking something. So what makes you do things instead of deciding to do nothing? What's the motivation? Physical motion, comfort and gratification. P.S. I love the way you make silly sounds with your dogs. I do that too. Yes, but she's not here. She's in the garden too. That used to be in my old apartment, but now I have a garden. She likes to sit out in the garden in the evenings. Okay, so what do I do when I'm uncomfortable? So what I do when I'm uncomfortable is what I just explained, is that I go into the chakras and I explore what's happening in the chakras. And if I'm really, it depends on the level of uncomfortableness. If I'm really uncomfortable, then I sit out, I sit life out. I just sit down and I can put attention on the chakra. I can discover what the discomfort is, and I just sit there, not meditating, not doing anything. I just sit there and wait for it to pass. And that might go on for a whole day. It could be that the whole day this body's not very comfortable, whatever, or it could just be half an hour and it passes. That's one thing I do. And then the other thing I might do if I'm in public or if I'm with people is just quickly noticing where it is in my chakra is uncomfortable and noticing what it is I want. So, and what it is, and what's actually happening. So my theory on humanity, from my own exploration and from, I studied performing arts when I was younger and playwriting, and from my experience of life and also the way that I write plays, is that naturally I think that we always have a want, we always have a desire, and there's nothing wrong with that desire. Our body, the character always has a desire. Consciousness, who you truly are, has no desire. So when you have that awakening, when there's a shift, there can be a period where there's nothing, you don't do anything, where you don't move or do anything because you're so overwhelmed by who you truly are, and who you truly are has no objective. Just sitting there is enough. Just looking at a tree is enough. Just looking at a fire or a cup is enough. But then normally there comes a balancing out where it's not that the character comes back, but you're living through a character. So the character comes more into focus, and you focus more on the character's wants and desires. And there's two different forms of desires. There's desires that are just natural desires, and then there's desires that come from seeking. And seeking to me is the belief that in the future you're going to get home. You're going to arrive at consciousness. What everybody's looking at, or beingness, or freedom, what everybody's looking for in this life is who you truly are in everything, in shopping, in sex, in materiality, in love affairs, in food, in walks, in excitement, everything. You're on the seeking level, you're always looking to come home in those experiences. As soon as there's identification, everything is about coming home. What the person truly deeply wants is rest. And that rest is who you are, who you truly are. And so there can be just your natural desires, or there can be seeking desires. And seeking desires are desires that believe that home will be found in them. And they're more intense, a lot more intense. They're different to natural desire. So after that awakening happens, what happens is that you can first of all go for a period where you're so extremely in non-duality, like that you can't function on the human level. And then there comes a middle ground where you're not someone, but you could say in some way you are someone, like there's a character that's being played out. So that character is not being denied. And then what happens is you focus in more on what that character wants or desires. And it's very simple. The way it works is the way it works in humans is the same that it works in all other mammals, is that what you want feels pleasurable and what you don't want feels painful. And what you want, when you want it, the way that you know that's what you want, a whole body, mind desire, not just a mind desire, is that your body will feel pleasurable. So now if I thought about my dinner, because I'm getting hungry, it's my fast day today, and because I'm getting hungry, the thought of my dinner feels really nice. Like there's a pleasure there that arises and my body feels open to that. And if I thought about fasting for the rest of the day and not having dinner, my body would be like, it wouldn't be so happy. Next one, if I thought about, so what else do I want now? I want to be able to communicate to you. So when I think about communicating to you, that I am communicating to you, it feels open, it feels pleasurable. So I want to communicate love to you. And when I feel like that is happening, it feels open, it feels available. And when I think that I can't communicate to you, then it feels closed and it feels painful. And I think that we're set up like this, that every human is set up like this and every mammal is set up like this. So in playwriting and in storytelling, what we're taught is often to focus on what the characters want. So what is it that your character wants? And when I write scenes, what I do is that I obviously make up the characters and where they're from and what their background is, but predominantly what I focus on in those scenes is what each character wants in that negotiation, in that conversation. So one character might want to express love and to be loved by the other person, and the other character might want to leave as quickly as they can. And this is where you form drama. So it's a very simple technique. And this is what I think is happening between us all the time, is that what we've got happening is we've got natural wants coming up that will lead us, and you could say that that's life's hand. That's the way that consciousness or life or who you truly are is pulling the strings of the puppet through this opening of pleasure. It's like a flower opens, like this beautiful feeling pleasure. And then when it's the wrong direction, there's pain. And both are equally important. It's important to know where not to go, and it's important to know where to go. But what happens on the human level is when you're identified, is there's absolutely no recognition of this. Everything is about this story of who you want to be. Like, so most people don't even like this, that they're set up to have wants and desires, and in each situation they have a want. So often people like to pretend they don't have any wants. Is there anything you want now? No, I don't want anything. No, I'm fine. Like they often pretend where they actually have a strong want, that they want to go home, or that they don't want to do something. But people aren't even aware of these wants arising in the body. What they're aware of is the story that they're trying to live up to, being a nice person, being rich, being famous, being colourful, being friendly, being nice, being bitchy, whatever it is, being coy, being sexy, whatever the game is of the person, they're always trying to live up to this. And this is why a lot of people don't even know what it is they want. They're absolutely unconscious of their natural wants and their natural desires, because they're seeking to create an identity to be somebody. And that's what's important, is to be someone. So when you're in an argument, you're not often arguing or trying to negotiate what you want. What you're arguing about is trying to get the other person to see you a particular way. And this is really complicated, because this means there's lots of layers on your communication. Whereas deep down in our bodies, we have these natural wants, and this is the way we're set up, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're not guilty or bad for having a want. Like in Christian society, we're often taught that we're not allowed to want, that you're guilty for wanting, you should be absolutely selfless. And just coming back and admitting all of this stuff to yourself, what it is you want right now, like being honest. It doesn't mean that you necessarily get it or you necessarily have to act it out, but being honest with yourself. Like, in this conversation, I want you to love me. In this conversation, I want you to appreciate me. In this conversation, like, I'm not talking about you and me, but I'm talking about if you're arguing with your partner. Like, I can't even see you, you're just a waving face with some red lines there. I want you to notice that I mowed the lawn today. Like, but often people go into the conversation, they want their partner to notice that they've mowed the lawn. They're not even conscious of it. And then when the partner doesn't say anything, they then attack the partner passive aggressively, like to get power back or something. So it's coming aware of what these natural wants are, and you use your body and the chakra system to understand what it is you want in every situation. And then obviously you're not always going to be getting what you want, and you're not always going to be in that, but you want to be predominantly in the place where you're opening. So you're in that place of opening, but obviously there's going to be things that you can't get what you want, and it's then a surrender, an absolute surrender to the pain of not getting what you want. But not trying to deny it, not trying to pretend you're something else, not trying to be something, just acknowledging that. And so when I work with people one-on-one, this is all I'm doing, is trying to get them to be honest with themselves on the human level, and not trying to be this person that they've made themselves to be, like whatever they want to present themselves to be, just being honest. What is it I want here? So rather than this focus on trying to get me to appreciate them or like them, like, what is it that you want here? Okay, I want to be appreciated and liked. It's so much simpler. That's so easy. Like, you know, when we go into a conversation and we're nervous, often there's nervousness arising because we want them to like us, and we're working out, not consciously but unconsciously, what's the best way in order to be liked. Whereas if you just admit that, what a relaxation. And it also makes your life simpler. Like, what is it you're up to in this negotiation? What is it you're trying to get? What is it you're trying to do? How are you trying to affect the other person? And where do you feel that in your body? So it's just coming back to this very simple way of being. And in that, what happens is there can be just this complete letting go, and then this realization that it's all happening beyond you. Like, surrender to it. When you're trying to live into this story and then seek to complete this story in time, like this story of you, then it's always really busy, and you're always like agitated, trying to avoid the past and trying to get to the future, or trying to avoid pain and get pleasure. There's always this game going on. But as you become more and more honest of what it is you're doing, you becomes a lot more simpler. And in you becoming simpler, then there's the possibility that that's not who you are. That's never been who you are. Who you are is this presence, is this aliveness, awakeness that's free. And don't worry if you don't understand what I'm saying. You just have to listen to the talk to like a few more times or listen more regularly, and you'll begin to understand it. Like I do these talks twice a week, and you just listen again and again. Like I remember when I used to go and see Ramesh or Tony, I had no idea what they were talking about. I maybe thought I did in some way. And then over time, it became more and more clear. It just gets repeated. It's like a meditation. Great talk. Awesome answer. What you're saying is what's going on with me lately. Things are good and painful, and humility is what feels right. No pretense or pretending. I do love you for sure, though. At least in what little I can squeeze into text. Ah, good. Well, that's sweet that you love me, but just so there's no miscommunications, I am in a very happy relationship. Just so, like, you might just love me on the spiritual level and just on doing these talks, but if there is any fancying there, then I can nip it in the butt, or then you can know that the fancying is just as it happens. Yeah, no fancying, just in the spirit. I'm in a very fulfilling relationship. Oh, nice. I have to say this because people can get the wrong impression. You know, somebody can say they love me and I don't address it, and then they think that it's reciprocated. So I've realized lately that I have to address these things a lot more. And often I say to people I love them as well. Here. Hi, Paul. Hello, Lisa. When you start the session and we all have to sit quiet time together, are you doing any particular meditation? Or are you just being in non-dual state, just being present? I'm just sitting there. I know that sounds particularly boring and like it doesn't have something for me to do, but I just sit there.